Thank you so much, Mr. Chair, and thank you as well to our witnesses for taking the time to be here today and share your expertise. I've been pretty open about sharing my sister Olivia's story. She was born with really complex disabilities and was able to receive the care she needed because of Medicaid. And she was one of an estimated 2.4 million Washingtonians enrolled in Apple Health, our state Medicaid program. And so ensuring that we're protecting that program is very important to me, not just personally, but on behalf of all my constituents. And I think I share the goals of so many of my colleagues here to ensure that we are using taxpayer dollars efficiently to provide essential services to our neighbors who need them. But what we may have some disagreement on is how to make the federal government and our programs work better for the American people. My colleague talked about fraudsters, and certainly there is some fraud in some of our programs, some improper payments. But I think what we also have to underscore is the individual people that are trying to access these programs. And we had a subcommittee hearing on healthcare and financial services a week or two ago, in which we collectively, bipartisanly, discussed and understood the barriers that exist for many families trying to access Medicaid, including and especially those married couples that have a hard time getting the healthcare that they need to be successful. But I want to reiterate the difference between fraud and people perpetuating fraud and the improper payments. And Ms. Wagner, could you reiterate, is it true that the vast majority of improper payments are paperwork issues, not fraud?
Yes, that is correct. It's usually a mistake in the process when you talk about a program like Medicaid. It could be mean an eligibility worker didn't follow correct procedures, or the participant was issued the wrong amount of benefits. But it's often an error, an inadvertent error by the household, or a mistake by the agency staff or system. The incidence of fraud, which is intentional deceit to gain a benefit, the incident of beneficiary fraud is very low in these programs.
Yeah, thank you. I've experienced in my family and heard so many anecdotes from Washingtonians, particularly parents of severely disabled children, who have this stack of paperwork on their counters, who feel like they need to be attorneys in order to access a system to provide health care for their kids, and who are overwhelmed so often with late nights, little sleep, worry about what new medication their kids need to be on, what specialist appointment they need to get into, who spend so many hours on the phone appealing denials of claims, trying to get into an appointment with someone, trying to get answers for their kid and take care of them, while many of them also have another day job. This, to characterize these parents as fraudsters, or to try and lump in individuals who are just trying to stay alive in so many cases, feels really challenging to me. And, I talked to the Healthcare Authority in Washington, our agency responsible for administrating Medicaid, and because of Washington's fraud abuse detection system, which I supported funding for as a member of the state Senate, they have uncovered 35 to 40 credible allegations of fraud. That's 35 to 40 out of 20 million claims that they receive a year. And to do that math for us, it's 0.0002% of fraudulent claims. And none of us are claiming that no fraud exists, but I think we need to keep in mind the scale of the problem here and who is perpetrating the incorrect payments. I also want to raise one thing that the Healthcare Authority suggested might be helpful as we talk about efficiencies in government. And they said that there is a federal system to which they as states don't have immediate access, to understand whether folks are concurrently enrolled in Medicaid programs from one state to the other. I know there is, we will have in the next couple of years some changes to that database to monitor when someone moves and changes their address, but it doesn't allow agencies like the Healthcare Authority in Washington to track whether there's concurrent enrollment. And that would be something that I'd love the chance to work on with my colleagues. And I yield my time.
Joe Mormon,